Okay, this is one of my kite foils. This is the all-around wings. And this wing is a little bit loose in the front. You can see it's moving a little bit. And this back one is not super tight either. So I'm going to show you a good way to tighten these up. So what I have here is called mold release. Mold release is something you can buy at one of your fiberglass stores. Basically, it's what people use to put inside a mold and make sure that resin doesn't stick to it and whatever they're making pops out. So we're going to wax this thing up. We'll wax up this fuselage piece here and this side over here. And just goop this stuff on really big and a lot of wax on it. We're going to do all of the sides here. Make sure you get into the collar here as well. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Get right up into that collar. Now you want to make sure you do all four sides really well, because all it takes with epoxy is super strong. If it has a place to stick to, it's going to be a bear to get it off. So we've gooped it up really well. Now this hole right here goes all the way through, so I'm going to seal up the other side with a little bit of putty so that when I put resin on here, it doesn't get stuck in that hole back here. This hole won't be a problem because we'll have the screw going through it. That'll disperse the resin. Okay. This is what I mean by taping it. Just tape it around with some 2-inch tape. Get it a nice little place right at the edge of your collar. Now you see how this is all sanded inside here, so if there was some mold release left in there or extra resin or whatever, I'll have a nice place for the epoxy to stick. For the little wing, my file's a little too big for this, so what I like to use for this is there it is, my hacksaw blade. So I take a hacksaw blade, get one that's, fairly stiff. Put your sandpaper around it, still using the 60 grit. And this hacksaw blade is a good size for doing this wing. So I'm going to do all of these sides. Now that looks pretty good to where we have a good sanded surface. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to put resin right on this tip here, only in this first couple inches on this side of the screw. And when we fit it on there, this kind of smoothes out this way a little bit, and there'll be a super tight seal. And since there's mold release on this, the resin will stick inside your wing where we've sanded it. Then we'll be able to knock it off and have a perfect size seat going here. Okay, this stuff is called molding putty. We're going to put some of this in the bottom of this hole right here. We're just filling up this hole so we don't get a whole bunch of resin in there. Do it on this back hole. You could fill it with anything. You could put foam or anything. Just try to keep the resin from getting in there. Now, like I said, we've got our aerosol mixed with epoxy with a little bit of black pigment. I kind of smooth it on your collar right here. We call this the collar part of your fuselage. Now this actually will work on your Go foil for SUP also. It's the same process. So we just goop it on there. Goop up a little bit on this side. Now the reason I don't goop it totally reason I don't goop this stuff up totally on the whole thing, like all the way back to here, because there is a chance that you can get this wing stuck on there. So I just want to do it in this last couple inches, and it's much safer than putting it over the whole thing. If you do it in a couple different stages, you can get it tighter and tighter if you want to, but I don't like doing the whole thing because I have got wings stuck on there that were pretty hard to get off. Okay, now I'm grabbing my wings, blow it out, make sure that you don't have a bunch of dust and stuff inside here. We've got our resin, we're going to put it on here, put it all the way on to where our hole lines up so we can put the screw in. Do the same thing on this side, slide it on there, tap it on. Okay, now we're going to put our screws in, make sure they're fitting. And if we need to hit it with a hammer, then we'll hit it with the hammer to get it on tighter. So grab your screw, grab our screw, put it in the hole. Okay, we got this one pretty tight. You don't need to put these screws super tight because it's just a set screw. Where's our other screw? There's. Okay, get our other screw. Okay, let's grab our paper towel that's blown away in the mellow wind here. Okay, now I take my gloves and kind of smooth this off and go towards the masking tape. This way you keep it off of your wing. Check the bottom. Okay, now if it isn't perfect after it dries, you can always sand it afterwards, but that looks pretty clean. Same thing with this side, go towards your tape. You can see how all my motions are towards my tape. Everything looks pretty clean. Now I'll clean it up with a paper towel a little bit. Let it harden overnight. Boom, this bugger is rock solid again. Okay, here we've taken the tape off of here. This is all sealed up with our epoxy inside of it with the aerosol. And now you can see this is really rock solid now. Both of these wings. So I'm going to knock these off for you. You can see what it looks like inside. Okay, so I've just knocked this wing off. You can see how the resin did not stick to the fuselage, and the resin is stuck inside. Let's see if we can see this. You could see where the resin is stuck inside where it made a perfect seal now. Okay, so you can see I've taken the back wing off now, and you see where you see a little bit of the wax still on there. So this mold release works fantastic to keep the resin from sticking there. And now the wing here itself, let's try and get in the sun so you can see it. You can see there's resin on the inside of this wing, and it's made a completely perfect seat for the back wing as well.